All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So, due to high demand, I will walk us through how to get a Figma education plan. All right. So, first, your Figma account needs to be signed in the browser you're using. So, let's confirm that. Okay. So, you can see my Figma account is signed in here. So, all right. All right, so okay, so I'll go back to where searching Figma education. All right, so when in there for access, yeah, and we'll scroll down to get verified. And when you are on the get verified page, you will fill in all this information. So which part is it? Student, educator. So I'm going to pick in students. I'm going to use in bootcamp. So I'm going to get this from where we used before. For those that want to get it, you can probably get it from, or you can just write any simple thing. It's going to, uh, so let's say, why applying for fake my education? So let me just, can't get a particular one. So let me get another. Yeah. Okay. So, uh, this is not one thing they'll have to school. Yeah, I'm just going to write. So it's not listed, so I'm just going to write a code count. And code.com. Yeah, right. So can just get this from let's see. Hmm. So you can just type in where, where is that? Yeah. So you can just type in code.com, but I just needed so date of graduation. I'm going to take the last. So sorry. Yes, I agree. Okay, so we need a file. So this I'm just going to choose file that I have here already. That should be so you can get any screenshot. You can check our the LMS. You can get a screenshot of the curriculum there, then you use it, and then after which you submit. So then that is it. So now, when you are there, you are in. You get this, you are in, get verified. So another thing you can do is this will only verify the current team or only upgrade the current team that you are in. So let's say after verifying, you have other teams that you wanted to. So this will pop up. That all these are not verified. These are still free. These are still free. Okay, so let me let's say, okay, let's just pick this first. So this I'll agree and then complete upgrade. So successfully. Okay, so let's say that will not pop up again next time. So how do I get verified? Again, so I'm just going to choose this other team. Yeah. So when you are on the team, just click the drop down on the top where you have Benjamin more team. Okay, so when you are there, you come to view settings. All right, in view settings, you will come to, let's see, view plan towards the bottom, and this will give you this. So this, since your account is an education, so it's just going to give you this. So you click on upgrade for free, accept, and continue. So that's how to upgrade each of the team. I can do that to all the team that I have. So for those that requested for the video, so that's how to upgrade your account to Figma Education. All right, so today we'll be looking at our topic for today will be user research analysis. So most of us, we've done user research while in the beginner level, and most of us did not. I will not go back to what is user research. If you did not do it, I don't think you can. In fact, you shouldn't have been in intermediate class if you don't know what is user research. So I won't be going to that user research that we know, that particular empathy, define, and all those stages. If you know it, then you know it. So, but anyways, so at the end of today's class, you should be able to. Well, anyway, I'm going to just let me see. So you should be able to know what UX research is and why we do conduct user research, which all of us know that already. 4 steps to smarter research planning and how to conduct user research analysis, which is the main focus of today. Today might be a bit short class, so we need to take this off the curriculum. All right, so let me just say this before. I'm just going to give us this. I'm just going to recap. I not make a slide for this, so you just pay attention to this, or you can write as we get started. All right. So we said, what is user research? I think I should have that. So what is user research? So user research, also known as UX research, is one of the most essential steps in designing user-centered products. Okay, so it is a process of learning about users, their needs, behavior, challenges, and goals, so we can design better solutions for them. So this research is usually done at the beginning of a project, but it's valuable throughout the entire design process. So that means while you are still designing, you can still move, you are still researching, because there are times when you come up, like when you come up with design decisions, you have to ask your users if this decision is going to favor them, if users are the main pain point or are the center of the decisions you want to make. Okay, um so this is instead of most times why we do this is instead of us assuming what users need, so we find out directly from them. That's user research. All right, so the key takeaway here is that user research turns our design from guesswork into informed decision making. All right, so okay, so before you plan how to do research, there are there are things you must first understand. Okay, so you need to ask yourself what decisions need to be made, and what does success actually look like for this team, and what are the risks or unknowns the PMs, that's project managers, are worried about. Okay, so think hold on, something I'm missing. I don't know where that is. Where is that? Oh, my bad. Okay, so think I was from my fault. Something I was. Okay, so let's see. So now I'm just going to give an example. You've most times we've probably heard that breakfast is the most important. I'm trying to explain why UX now is UX research is now important. So most times, breakfast is not even most times. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but sometimes people skip it. So this could be because there are rushing, they are not hungry, or maybe they just think it doesn't matter. All right. So and then if we observe this type of persons in during the midday, they are always tired and they are always distracted, and most times they are always struggling to focus. So now is when I opened the floor for most of us that are not breakfast type. Say, breakfast is not my thing. So how many of us here does we don't take breakfast? Don't be shy. Can just lift your hand and use the chat. You don't take, you're not gifts, you're not a breakfast type, see? So we have them here. And most times, and in that process, you see you'll be tired during um ah, you'll be tired during the day. Are we always tired? Carlos also says so. Anyways, I am one of them. I don't take breakfast. Like I feel it's tiring to is the first thing you are waking up 8 o'clock. Is it not too early to eat? So at least you should be eating breakfast, well, which we call brunch, uh, around 12 1. That, so even myself, 12 1 o'clock, I might be too busy that I even forgot. That I know it is only when I start having headache, or I start feeling tired. That's when I now remember, oh, I did not take something. No. That's when I now go back to eat. Okay, so it's the same thing with research. All right. So if you skip the proper planning at the start, you will feel it later on. Okay. Your focus will be scattered, you will have unclear insight, and then there will be wasted efforts. So and then by the time problems show up, it usually traces right back to how you began. So let's take for an example. Um, Imagine a team is working on a fitness application, and the product manager now has an idea for a new feature, something that could boost that's the user engagement. But the product manager is caution. This is he or she knows that this particular feature is going to take serious time and also going to take resources from the developers team. Okay, So before moving forward, the PM will always ask for a research so that he or she will now know, is this particular feature worth embarking on. So now moving forward, as a designer, we call ourselves UI UX designer, product designers. Okay, so before now we used to have companies get UX designer differently. They get UI designers differently. They get UX researchers differently. They get UI researchers differently. But now, well, companies don't have that time for, or don't have that resources, I think. So they get you, like you as the UI UX designer, you as the product designer, it is you they want. Okay, so as a product designer, you are now given the mandate to do research. All right. So now, as a researcher, you typically need to ask or to investigate one or two things. So it's either you are researching for a problem statement, or you are actually researching for a solution. So I said um, either a problem, something tied to a user pain point. For example, we think people struggle to stay consistent with workout and it's affecting engagement. So that is a problem. And then we said a solution, like so a solution for this problem could be let's integrate a personal coaching, and this is going to help users stick to their workout. UI are supposed to do brand identity and pitch. We have brand identity designers. We have them. So brand identity, but most designers still do those work. But when it comes to brand identity, what is in brand identity? We have fonts, we have logo design, we have color. That's you decide to choose. You are the one to choose their brand. If they already have a color, so you can now be the one to now give them reasons why the color and the rest of the stuff, and then you give them a document to I'll call it emotional documents, where they will now see all these things and how it will appear in real life. So UI UX designers do that too, but that's not the work of a UI UX designers. Okay, the work of brand identity designers. I hope you understand that goodness. All right, so moving on. So say in both cases, either you are searching for a problem or you are searching for a solution. So so your job is to uncover real evidence that helps the team make a smarter decision. So what the product manager will really want is confidence. That is, confident they are not about to spend months building the wrong thing. Okay, and there are many ways to split this up. Let's see. Okay, so there are many ways to split this up. So when designing is we'll ask, instead of understanding the why behind the research, people jump right into action. So with this, they have split up the or slip up um the the product. And also they start planning interviews, writing script, choosing methods without first stepping back and then asking what decisions need to be made and the likes of it. So the next subheading here is, why do we conduct user research? And we said number one is to understand who our users are, to identify what users need from the product, to learn how users currently solve problems, to uncover pain points, goals, and motivation, to test our idea, design, and assumption, to make sure our solution is accessible, usable, and meaningful. Okay, so before going down to four steps to smarter research planning, let us go back in time. Let's go back in time. When we say user research, what are the types of user research? I'm going to open the floor for response. So we have majorly two types of user research. So let me see. let's use this as let me see how many of us have the primary knowledge of this already. Okay, so goodness, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, we
Good
have
afternoon.
qualitative user research and we have quantitative user research. So under qualitative, we have interviews. Then under quantitative, we have survey questioning and well.
Okay, so thank you, goodness. So let me hear from another person. Vera, I saw your hand.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Okay.
That
Basically, goodness mentioned what I wanted to say, but then just to add, the qualitative research is basically it gathers more about the behavior, and it's more of how the people behave, and like what they feel, it's more detailed. But then quantitative is basically about numbers. It gathers information regarding how many, but then qualitative gathers information regarding how well or how far, basically.
okay. So thank you very much. So we've said it already. So just to add to that, so qualitative is when you ask questions why people do things. Okay. So you can say, why do you ignore that feature? Why do you not click on pay with card? It could be that the flow is broken. So that's why people decide to just pay with a transfer. Now, for quantitative, this happens to do with what people do and how often. Okay, so we could, as Vera said, it has to do with number trends, which could be, 70% of users click the skip button while going through the onboarding process. Okay, so as designers, we should always merge the two, always combine the two. This is going to give us um, a broad knowledge on how our products should look. So just to add to that again, so qualitative is all about feelings and quantitative is all about numbers. Okay, and so how do we do user research? How do we do user research? Let me see. I'm still opening the floor for people to say, because this is basic things we did already while in the beginner level. So how do we plan, or how do you as a designer plan your user research? I want to believe most of us here have done research work, either qualitative or quantitative for now. Is anybody that will want to say something? Amzod, uh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, so let me hear from you. So how do you personally plan your user research?
I go about asking them open-ended questions where they can talk freely without me giving them options for them to choose from. So I normally ask open-ended questions.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
that's the only thing you do.
Yes, sir. That's the only thing I do. Then sometimes I do some research online from related issue that I have on ground.
Okay, all right, Vera.
Okay. Yeah, just to add to what he just said now. So basically, you before you start any research, you have to plan it. So depending on the project or depending on what you're trying to find out, you can now tell if you want to use either of them or both of them like you recommended. So For example, if it's the user interview, if it's if it's qualitative method you want to use, you can then find out the user, how should I say, the demographic area you'd have to go to, because don't just do things randomly. You want to find out exact. So if it's something that is related to students, for example, you ask yourself, okay, so I need to go to university, I need to go to so place, and you also check your budget, and all of these things will help in the planning of the research. And you don't just do things anyhow. You plan it first before you conduct your research. Yeah.
Okay, that's well comprehensive. Thank you, Vera. Okay, so let me just give us a simple roadmap that I take. So firstly, what I do is you have to get your research goals. What is your research goals? All right. And the second thing, as recommended by us, as where we are discussing, is choose which method you want to use. Is it qualitative or quantitative method you want to use for your research? Then, well, after that, you have to find most of us. Okay, so there was this particular student taking on a training, and I gave her a task to do, and now she was supposed to do yes a research and interview too. So well, she did the research, but when it came to the interview, so what she used recommended is the Google form. Don't There are other applications out there, but Google Form is a very well understood platform to use. Now, what she did was to now answer it herself. Okay, so this is wrong. When doing it, find real users, find real. I know it's going to be hard. That's why I always recommend for people to join communities, join design communities. Okay, so you will see persons there that will help answer those, and then maybe your friends too, if they are into, even though they are not into tech, so you can just solicit for them to answer it. So find real users, because if you are the one answering it, you will still be doing what you think is right. Okay. All right. So the fourth thing you do is you have to create your research plan. Then after that, you go ahead in conducting your research or interview. Then when you are doing this, while asking the question, listen, observe, okay? And after that, analyze what you have learned. And well, after which you have to now share the insights with your team. Don't just go ahead to now proceed with the decisions you have gathered from the research or from the interview. Go ahead, discuss it with your team, now um and now you guys will now deliberate on it. Okay. So when talking about research methods too, in terms of qualitative, let me just break it down. Okay, so when it comes to qualitative has to do with interviews. It has to do with focus groups, observation, card sortings, and then when it comes to quantitative methods, it has to do with survey, A and B testing, heat maps, and analysis. All right, so as I said earlier, there are tools we can use for this. We can use Google Form, and we can use Zoom too. Okay, Zoom, you can just do the interview. If the person, you can't see the person physically, you can just say, oh yes, please, can you jump on this call, let me just go through this with you, and then with that you will you can observe from when the person is talking, how is the person feeling, what was his body language, and so on and so forth. Okay, so as I said earlier, when doing research, we should always do it before our. Okay, A and B sorting, how does it work? I'm going to answer that shortly. Let me just finish off this particular. So, if when doing your research, okay, go through it should be before your product. Okay, it should also be during when you are designing, and it should also be when you are testing that particular product, and even after you might have launched the product, still do research about it. Because if you go to Google Play or App Store, for most of us that use iPhones or Android, Google Play, you will see that there are many bad reviews, or there are reviews, and there are good and bad reviews on the Play Store or Google Play or App Store, sorry. So this is as a result of lack of research, I would say. Because if the designers or the stakeholders could have done research, ask users for pain points and the rest, and or whatever their challenge was, that would have been avoided. Even though I know we can't satisfy all users, but at the same time, I think over 80% of users will be satisfied. Or the 20, we can now go ahead. Why after launching, that's where, okay, you can now try to satisfy all users. Okay, so A and B sorting. All right, so this is how A and B sorting works. Let me see how to explain this in a sim. Now let's look at an e-commerce website. Okay, taking an example, an e-commerce website. Let's say we are designing an e-commerce website, and in our e-commerce website we have what we call we have products. Okay, and under these products we have fashion, we have shoes, we have clothing, we have kits and kit stuff, and so on and so forth. So how A and B sorting works is, you will now decide toys, which category should it go to? Is it the kids or is it clothes? Well, that's where A and B sorting comes in. Right. So you now sort each of the items to which product it should go to, which category it should go to. So that's why most times, I think when we had usability testing, I think I saw most of you saying that when user stages on a particular platform, some of the search feedback, what feedback is given is not what you expected. So you are searching for phone, and now what you are seeing, even though phone case, well, okay, let's say you're searching for phone, and then you are now seeing television inside a phone search where you are searching. So this is where A and B sorting comes in. So as users, when we now sort that out, we are going to now help users when searching for an item, or when doing the account, or yes, it will be smooth for them. All right, I think who asked that question? Goodness, right? Yeah, I hope that is understandable. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay. So I'm just going to still talk this about before we still proceed to the next steps. Okay, so now we are going to just say common mistakes that we do while making UX research. So most of us feel that we already know our users. So we feel like, is it not just a fitness application? So it's just for users to, okay, let's say they want to jog, they will jog, they want to run, they will run. But we don't know. Let's assume after doing that, we did not put in a future for rest. So this is just an assumption here. So let's say this assumption I'm making is what users wanted, but we did not include it. Okay, so now we felt, that users have the strength to run a marathon, or they have strength to run, say, 1,000 kilometers. Okay, so without putting in a race, but this is what users want. Like, they want to rest after let's say 30 minutes. So in a fitness app, we should probably give users that particular ability to say, oh yes, I want to rest now. While I was using a fitness app one of the time, there's these features they had it. I was tired after the first workout. Now they only gave me 15 seconds to rest. I was like, what is this? Now, in that particular application, there was no place to increase that. Oh, 15 seconds is not enough for me. Just add more 15 minutes, or sorry, 15 seconds to it to make it 30 minutes. So I was like, what is this? So I was like, okay, let me just All right. Please do confirm you can hear me. Sorry about that. Network is our friend. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, I said it is wrong to assume that we already know our users. So, most times we feel, okay, a client needs tools to be delivered, or it needs a product to be delivered in 2 months. So we will feel, oh, it's going to take too much of our time to now go into research. So why not just jump into design? You see, you end up spending over 2 months. Like end up spending over 4 months of trying to design, because, well, you did not go through the right way, you did not do research. So when in this, why when clients give us a product to work on, let's not just make that assumption that, well, research will take too long. We just want to rush into Figma or into whatever tools we use in designing to go about it. Well, and also let's not say it's too expensive. Okay, it's not, research is not that expensive to go about on, or to go on with. So what most people feel is going to be too expensive. Most times users will say, oh, I don't have data to join this call, or I can't go ahead, and the rest of it. If we really want to succeed, we want the product to succeed, we'll have to sacrifice whatsoever it is to make it work. All right, so I'm just going to say that user research matters, because it helps create user-centered design, as we spoke before. It also saves time and money. Okay, it uncovers real problem and also prevents costly redesigns, and it it helps well, it helps test assumption early. Okay, if you were assuming, it will help test those. Wait, hold on. So goodness, you can resend that question again. Think my call it kicked me out. Is it the A and B sorting you were talking about? Because I think I attended to that, except which question is that, please? Just drop it on the chat. I'm going to look that up again. Okay, so let's see. So now that we have gotten all this, now that we have reminded ourselves of all this, so now let's go into steps to uh to smarter research planning. Hold on, let me move this out. Good. Okay, let me see. Think. No, 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 no. Before you go into research, you already know the problem. Like, yeah, well, there's always a problem statement, or there's what a client wants. Okay, so let's say a client wants an application to, uh, let's say, what example can I use here? So let's say an education in education, like it wants users to study, like it wants a platform where users can come learn at their own pace and also get real-time feedback. Okay, now what is the problem statement there? Let me see. Is there anybody that can attempt that? The
Please say
product
it
is
again.
okay. A client wants a product that users can learn at their own pace and also get real-time feedback. So there is a problem there in that particular this thing. But what? Can you hear me properly now? Okay. So the question is, what is the question? Okay. Like design a product where users can learn at their own pace and also get real-time feedback after their learning or in the process of their learning. Is there anybody that can try that? A problem statement from that. Who is there? Let me see. Let me call names now. Chidera, I don't think I've heard from you. Chidera, are you there? Okay, GBK. The problem is the platform. Okay. Goodness, that's from you. So let's see. Anybody?
Okay, let me try.
Okay.
Okay, I think one of the problems is that students, maybe they have been learning online, but they don't get real-time feedback. They ask questions, maybe later the tutors can maybe respond if they like, but this particular platform can actually solve that problem, whereby as they learn, they can ask their questions and they will get feedback, or whatever the issue is, they will get feedback immediately or maybe later. And I think that's what I think.
Okay, so anybody else? Okay, so looking at this particular example I gave, so as Gift has already said, yes, people don't get real time feedback, so that's a problem. Okay, and a problem could also be that learners don't always know what they are missing or where they are weak without immediate cohesive inputs. That's still getting feedback. Okay. Now, when we are talking about problem statements, well, I told us about problem statements. So this is so we can say, let's see. So we can say that the problem statement is learners would prefer to study at their own pace, or learners who prefer to study at their, I think, okay, learners who prefer to study at their own pace often struggle with lack of guidance, delayed feedback, and poor management. So that's a problem. So which leads to and why they were doing this. And so there is a need for a solution which allow flexible pace. So when once a particular answering your question, when once a client gives you a work, or once you get a work to do, from there you already know what the problem is. So doing research is understanding what the problem is and where the problem is coming from. Okay, I hope, let me just minimize it to that. All right, so goodness, I hope that answers your question. All right, so let's proceed. So now, please, if you can still hear me well, please do well to notify me. Let me be sure of. Let me drop this here. No, no, no. Let me find where to drop. Hold on. Okay, so now let's go a little bit deeper into what separates good research from great research. Okay, so this actually this starts with understanding the one simple truth. Okay, and this is what most times product managers, stakeholders, or your client wants to know. So let's see. So we say step one is clarify the decision. Okay, so clarify the decision. So start with the most important question. What decision will this research help us make? If you can't pinpoint a decision, then it's a red flag. All right. So ask questions like, is this research even worth doing? So remember that research isn't all about collecting data. It's about enabling decisions. All right. So this is where your first goal should be what is, all right, what is this product basically all about? Which type of users are going to use this product? All right. So is this particular features they want to add to this product, is it worth the time? Is it going to increase users? Is it going to increase users engagement? Is it going to increase the activity? Is it going to we talked about UX strategy the other time. We said why doing product think like the business or the product owner. So if you're the one owning the product, will you be happy if this particular features was being added and then you spend that so much resources into it, but well, there was nothing like what you got from it was not the effort you also imputed in it. So that's when to say clarify the decision. All right. So now step 2 is identify the right evidence. So once you know the decisions, ask yourself, what evidence does the team need to feel confident making it? All right. Don't assume you need new data. Check new data. Okay. Check what you already have. So it could be product analytics, customer support tickets, previous research reports, market trends. So sometimes the answers are already within reach. So look at what you already have. All right. So before you rush to schedule interviews or survey, pause. Ask a simple question. Uh, what data do we already have that could help in this particular product? All right. So you will think team always check this, but honestly, this step most times always gets skipped. All right. So most of us, we feel every product we get, we must start up a new research. We must go to Google Form, set up a new research survey, interview, and the likes. All right. So sometimes the answer is sitting right there, like waiting to be used. Okay. So as I listed out here, so it could be product analytics from there are tools like I think Mixpanel or even Google Analytics. All right. So there are already products that are there that have been analyzed. So there are also data logs from data science teams. Okay. So there are also feedbacks from customer, right? Customer support. As I said earlier, while doing research, you can do research after a launch. So now, if you go to, let's say, a platform where you launched your product, from there you are going to always see those reports and feedbacks. So from there, you can get your research from there. So it can also be from a previous research support and also from market trends. Or so in fact, there have been a times where I have found that we didn't need to run to a new study at all. Okay. So I just had to pick up a previous research that was already done, and then with that, decisions was being made. And you can see when I submitted it, it passed the BOY because it solved the problem. It analyzed what they needed. I did not just have to now start going through to do some new interviews and what have you again all over from the start. All right, so I said step 3, you should involve the right people. So this is you bringing in the broader team. After this you have done, after going through your step number 2, after identifying the right evidence, okay, either from any of these steps, you can now involve the right people. So let's say Lex, look around and ask who else should be in this conversation. So bringing in teammates, designers, engineers, marketers, customer support to help you spot blind spots, capture different viewpoints, and also build buy-in for your research findings. Okay, so think of it as creating shared ownership of research goals. Okay, so all right, so I'm going to say, let's say you've clarified the decisions and then you've checked existing data. So and now it's time to also plan fresh research. So before you do one-on-one, so the most smart move to always take is to now bring in the broader team. All right, so bring in the large teams. Okay, so most times when you bring in these team people, this is when you like questions is going to come up because there's going to be brainstorming, body storming, and what have you. Questions like are there other products or user questions we should cover? Or could this research answer multiple teams needs at once? Okay. So okay, so before we go to the step 4, so we could always say a simple way to do this is to most times run a short assumption workshop. Okay, so you are going to assume within us. Okay, so we can you bring your team, so you start assuming what we think the users are going to do, and hypotheses they would love to test, and also questions we think that are important, right? So it's not all the questions that were being done during your user research that you will take them into considerations. So it is when you can now use it when you meet with the team, you can now look at which and which is what you to keep or which you should toss out. All right. So when doing this particular when bringing in this team people, so what it gives you is a richer understanding of what the problem is, and also view of risks and opportunities. All right. So and then it's also going to help that you're going to be frustrated, but it's going to be fewer frustration. All right. So because there will be no moments of why didn't you think of this before, or why didn't you think of this before embarking on this particular product. But when you are working with the team, you see those questions will now come up because others will be thinking, and others will be one thinking outside the box, bringing questions that are from the moon. All right. And others will bring questions from the sun. Others will bring questions that are not related, but if you look at it somehow, it's now bringing new insights and the rest. So that's why they said most times think outside the box. Okay, and also in every nonsense there's a sense. All right, so let's proceed to the step number 4. Okay, so okay, that was step 4, which is actually the last, which says challenge the problem framing. All right. So this is the last step, but it's also the crucial step. Most times step number 3 and step number 4 can be joined together, because most of the questions we are asking on step number 3, and then we are finding out on step number 3 will be, are we solving the right problem? So before you move forward, challenge the initial framing. So is it really the cause problem, or is it just a surface symptom of the problem? All right, so most times in doing this, there is this particular ladder of influences that we use. So you get your observable data, then you select the data, then you add meaning to the data, then you make assumption based on the meaning, and then you draw conclusions based on the assumptions, and then you adopt beliefs based on the conclusion. All right. So this is a ladder of influence that if you use this before going into the main research, is going to help your team move faster and smoother. All right. So so let's just look at this problem together. So let's say in an apartment building, tenants complain that the elevator is too slow. So for us as designers, I'm going to ask 3 persons. Okay, no, let me make it 4. There's a reason I'm making it 4. So let me ask, what will be the fix? Let me see. Is there anybody? What will be the fix? Tenants are complaining that the elevator is too slow. What do you think is actually the problem? Or what do you think is the solution you can cut off for this? Let me see. Anybody? Because the next few seconds I will start calling on people. Okay, so Kalu, it has been long we heard from you. Let's hear from you. So what will be your fix if remember before now I've said it, UI UX is not all about design, it's about problem solving. We are problem solvers. So let's bring up this problem here. So in a particular building, the tenants are complaining that the elevator is too slow. All right, so What do you feel should be the solution to this? Aokalu is still here with us. Kechuku. Okay, while waiting for Kalu because he has to speak. Let's hear from Zinab. Go ahead. Do you know what would be your fix as a product designer or as a problem solver? Let me use that. As a problem solver that you are, what would be your fix if this issue came up?
Okay. Would as a problem solver, we can decide if we have to use the elevator compulsorily, then we can probably call the person that would fix or check if there's something wrong with the elevator, so we can then fix whatever is wrong with the elevator so it can move faster.
Oh, okay. All right. So give says you can build stairs to complement the elevator. Remember, the elevator is slow, so the mean stairs can be faster than elevator. Interesting. Gift. So it means stairs is faster. Imagine you are going to a 14 a 14th building and then you are using stairs. Oh God.
No, the person, now, if maybe that is how the elevator is wired to be, and they feel that it's too slow, they can actually use the stair. Maybe their feet can move faster than the elevator.
Oh, okay. I wonder how stairs is going to move faster than elevator. But okay, I'm going to give one person the opportunity to speak. Okay, Chuko Kalu, I'm still waiting for you. You'll be the last person. Let me get one other person. GBK. Let me hear from you. What do you think is going to be the fix? So let me guess. GBK is also not okay. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I think, as a product designer, you have to interview the tenant, probably observe the elevator usage pattern, and also maybe the timing, the elevator travel and wait time. So maybe it is too bombarded, and that's where we can identify the frustration point.
Okay. I like the fact you say we should ask questions first because we can't just give them answer based on assumptions that truly that truly the that truly the elevator is slow. We don't know. Okay, so it could be that these people they're always, let's say, they're always late and then they're rushing to work and so therefore they feel the elevator should just disappear to the ground from the top floor. Okay. So all right, so let me okay, Kejuku says I'll inform the landlord to replace or upgrade the motors in the elevator. Okay. So all these solutions we are giving are okay. So I said here that the obvious fix is upgrade the elevator, right? So which is what most of us are recommending, that we should upgrade the so but looking at it, someone asked the question, is the elevator really slow? Okay. Is this elevator really slow or does it just feel it is slow? So the question is it too slow? So the solution is put up mirrors around in and around the elevators. Now, can somebody tell me why this mirror why this is a solution being recommended? Mr. Yemi, can you tell me why this is a solution that has been recommended for this problem that the elevator is too slow?
Can I answer that?
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's to while we bother. Why waiting?
Okay. So, do you feel it's going to work with men?
What do you say?
Do you feel it is going to work with men, or it's going to work on men? So I think it's only
Everybody,
women that care
everybody
about.
in this digital age, everybody look through the mirror. Even
Yeah.
even even men take selfie now. And
I
smart.
don't take selfie. I don't have mirror in my house. So
That is true. But like
that's
you
exactly
said,
my point. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. That's. Let me see. I think seeing a chat. Why would I be looking at? Okay, Chuku, let's leave that side first. Though. All right. So that is a solution that a problem solver came up with. Okay. So putting up a mirror, as has been said by one of us, is going to put up a distraction because everyone is going to keep on checking themselves, and before you know it, they'll be like, time. Imagine that when looking at the mirror now, you're not seeing that there's pimples in my face. There's how my clothes is. Let me readjust it. So in the process, you end up spending time forgetting that yes, that you are on or in the elevator. The same way with people that are waiting outside. So while waiting outside, they will feel, oh yes, they will keep on checking themselves, and in the process, um, yes, before they know it, the elevator has come and reached. So we can see here that it is the elevator, the same elevator. There has been no upgrade. Like we did not spend more time, and the problem was down reframed, and then our problem was actually solved. Okay, so no money was being spent, no extra money was being spent. So I think let me see, can I remember? I think Don Norman, I think is one of the founding thinkers in UX. So it says invariably, I think it says the problem I'm about to solve is not the real problem. Okay, the problem you are about to solve is not the real problem if you don't do research. Okay, so in research, the first problem you are handed is often just an outer layer. So just to put into goodness again, the question she asked, do we find problems while doing research? So when you are being given a problem to solve, it is just an outer, you need to do research, all right, just to go deeper. So it's just like peeling an onion. So the more deeper you go, the more tears is coming out from your eye. All right, so we're just going to look at this other subset, single loop versus double loop. Now, so single loop is when you fix the immediate issue. Like let's say, let's find a better way to treat the symptom. While double looping is when you step back and ask, why is this happening? So let's look at a real example. There was a story of okay, so there was this story of Iraq, a military doctors were seeing high number of eye injuries among soldiers. All right. Now, so they focused on better treatment or like using surgery, care, recovery, and so like immediately they just jump into this treatment. So if you look at it now, that is a single looping. All right. So they fix the immediate issue. Now, but eventually someone now asked, why are these injuries happening in the first place? So in the process of asking questions, they now find out that soldiers were not wearing their goggles. Okay. And why were they not wearing it? It was because these goggles were uncomfortable. It was, let's say, too big on their eye, it was too small, it was too heavy, and things like that. So the team had to redesign the goggles to make it more wearable. And after that, the injury rate dropped. So that is what we call double looping learning. All right. So double looping learning solves the upstream cause, not just reacting to the downstream symptoms. All right. So it solves the let me take that again. It solves the upstream cause and not just the downstream symptoms. All right. So now, how do we now conduct um, user research analysis? How do we conduct user research analysis? So in this particular sub, I'm going to walk us through how to analyze user research, but it's going to be theoretical. Let's see. I'm not sure. Maybe in our next class we'll look into it. How to do it practically. So our goals here is to actually transform raw data into valuable, actionable insights, so that can actually guide our decisions making in terms of product design. All right. So step number one. Okay, so let's see. So you'll be asking questions like, what does this data really mean? So what does it reveal about the people I'm designing for? And also, how can it guide my design decisions? So step number one is, one of the ways to actually conduct a user research analysis is to organize your data. So when you are done with getting your research questions from your research report from the team and from people that have answered this research. So the first thing you need to do is to organize your data. All right, so over here, first thing you need to gather and organize all your research materials. So you can transcribe the audio recording if it was on audio. It can be video clips. It can be handwritten notes. So you can transcribe them into a digital format. Now from there, you can now create a centralized space where everything is now stored logically. So for this, a useful tip will be to create a folder for each participant and a simple profile summary for each one of them. So this is going to help you stay connected to the user behind the data. All right, so this we can do by preparing our workspace. All right, so when doing user research analysis, it can get messy because there are a lot of data you might want to analyze. So what you will need will be a blank wall. You might need a whiteboard or a big table. So you can use sticky notes or a digital whiteboard. Like FigJam has provision for that. Also Miro has provision for that. So those are the digital whiteboard softwares. And then all your research files has to be within reach. Okay. So with this, it's going to save you tons of frustrations later, because you have space, you you can reach out to any data you need. All right. So the next one you might want to do while organizing your data is to categorize and spot patterns. All right. So this particular section is usually fun. I think goodness, I think, was she the one that asked the question about A and B sorting? So that is where it comes in. So let's say you were doing A and B sorting. Now you have to now sort where bags, category of bags, is it going to accessories, category of course, where is it going to, categories of what category or what item is going to the category of children toys, and thereabout, and thereon and so forth. Okay, so I say now go through all your data and group similar insights together. All right, so here we use sticky notes, and then you can also try affinity mapping. all right, to see teams merged. Okay, so here you start by asking yourself questions like what's showing up again and again, or where are the surprises? So at the end of this, you will see clear cluster of insight starting to form. All right, so then the step 2 is to revisit your research objectives. All right, when conducting a research analysis, go back to your research objectives. So what do you do here? So before jumping into the analysis, you have to pause and then revisit your objective. Why did you conduct this research? So these are the questions you ask. Were you trying to just build an empathy for your users, or were you trying to validate whether an existing product meets user needs? So your objective acts as a filter, helping you to focus on data that are actually useful. All right. Then so let's say you are designing a budgeting app for students, and your goal is to understand who are your users. Now, what motivates them to use budgeting tools? So now you have gathered interview and survey. So during analysis, you focus on the demographics, the lifestyle insights, and also you focus on the direct code showing users thought and feeling about budgeting. All right. So sorry. So step 3 is going to be to uncover findings. So uncover findings. All right, so this is where the real work begins. So you will start by digging into data to find themes, patterns, stories. And you always have to analyze with the objective in mind. So this is where you now have to extract relevant insights and not all insights. But first of all, we'll have to do coding. So you have to code your data. So when I say coding, coding is not like, it's not the coding that we all code, like coding HTML, CSS, and thereabout, or Pythons and so. So I said the coding is the first step in structuring qualitative data like interviews or open-ended survey responses. So coding means assigning labels, all right, to chunks of data. Okay, assigning labels to chunks of data, and code describes what's being said, and it is, don't misinterpret it to be an interpretation of whatsoever you were doing. It's not an interpretation of, the data that you are. It's just a neutral tag. All right, it's just a tag. So let's say example, you are designing a dating app. So so our objective is going to be learn about users experience with dating app. So someone, and one of the persons you might interview might say, I'm not a fan of online dating. I have a Tinder account, but I only log in every couple of weeks. I haven't tried any other services. I just don't think they will work for me. So we are trying to give codes to this. So so we can now see here that possible codes is dating app. So you have to mention a specific app. What dating app is that? Now, negative emotions. So this is a tag. This is a code. Dating app. This is a part. This is for the app. So negative emotions. This is how the person felt. It's good. He would have felt dislike. You feel let's say uncomfortable. So that's also an emotion. So you might feel well, curious, might feel curious of, let's say, if he should actually try other applications, will it work for him? So there are other emotions you could. So instead of putting this outside there, just putting them outside, like, so you can now give it a code and say negative emotions, and then you put this. So let's take it as a folder. Negative emotions is a folder where you now put in all other emotions that are negative into that particular folder. All right, so we now have another code that says time frames. So this is where a user login within few weeks. All right, and also we have a code to be lack of exploration. So the person has not tried other services. All right, and then skepticism, which he doesn't actually believe other applications are going to work out for him or her. All right, so after this, we are now going to group codes into teams. All right, we're now going to group them into teams. So this says, and once you have coded everything will have to be messy. Like it will be a messy of codes. All right, a messy list of codes. So your next job is now to group similar codes into broader teams. So for example, codes like negative emotion and skepticism might roll up in teams like distrust in dating apps. All right, and then codes like 10 time frames and in frequent usage might form a team like low engagement. All right, so after that, we are going to now look at the step number 4, which says identify user insight. So before we identify user insight, let's see what is the difference between findings and insights. What is the difference? Okay, I think this I would have asked us first, but already I've exposed it to the wall. So I said after organizing your data, it's time to synthesize it. So now clarifying between these two things, findings is what is happening, why insight is why is it happening and what opportunity does it create. Okay, so why is it happening and what of findings, what is happening, insight, why is it happening and what opportunities does this particular finding create. Okay, so so example, let's look at the budgeting app we talked about. So we said that users use multiple apps to manage their finances. So insight is that there is no all-in-one solution. So users are now forced to juggle plenty tools or multiple tools. So let's say user wants to save, but there's only one app that I can use to save. So user wants to track their spending. There's only another application that I can use. So now the insight there is that, well, these applications are different. Like, and then users are now bombarding their phones with a lot of applications. So now we have gotten our design direction. So we are now going to build a comprehensive all-in-one budgeting app that users can use in saving, for their expenses, for their income tracking, for their spending tracking, and whatsoever. So now that this has given us a design direction, this is only because we have now organized our data, and then we have now gotten the insight from the finding of the data we have gotten. Okay, so I said that insights are only useful if your team can see and understand them. So you might want to build personas to highlight user types. So you might want to create a simple user journey map. Then you can also draft a short summary report with key quotes and takeaway. All right, so your goals here has to be clarity and actionability. So after doing all these things, you have to meet these goals. After building this, there has to be clarity in your in your research analysis, that this is actually what you want to do, and these are the actions that needs to be taken. So always keep it simple, visual, and focused on what matters most for a product. So what do they tell you about user needs and struggles? So always ask yourself, what are the biggest pain points? What motivates users? Where are users getting stuck? And this is where so what comes in. That is translating what people say into design decisions. Okay, so let's see. So number 5 is share your insights, and this is the last step for you to take. So share your insights. So turn your insights into problem statements, all right? Then frame them as how might we. So how might we question? That's to open up design opportunities. So example, so as we talked about our insight, there is currently no all-in-one solution for budgeting, so users can rely on. So how might we question is how might we enable users to satisfy all their budgeting needs in one place? Okay, how might we enable users to satisfy in one place, not to have multiple applications that they use for this? So so by following these steps, we can now see that we have now transformed our raw data into meaningful insights that will also drive smarter and more user-focused design decisions. Okay, so recap and closing notes. So step number one, just going to put them out there. Step understand the decision-making context. All right, check existing data before launching new studies. Don't go and do double work. So run an assumption mapping section to align the team. Then also challenge the framing of the problem. So ask questions like, are we solving the real issue? And also aim for double loop learning, where even whenever possible, all right, solving the causes and not just the symptoms. All right, so let's see what happened to prototyping. Goodness, you can unmute. Oh. Think yes, thank you, are done. So you can ask your question. Goodness, you said prototyping. Say what about prototyping? So what happened to prototyping? All right, so any question? Gives, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the class. My
Uh,
not really a question. I wanted you to explain the single loop and the double loop again, please.
okay, a single loop is basically solving the problem, like solving the problem. Like, oh, let's say, for an example, what I use now, it's okay. Let's say, let me use another example. Let's see. Okay, let's say you buy data, all right, and now your data finishes it finishes and quickly, unlike like your data traffic is running up like too much. Now what is the solution for that at the moment? Like, what is the solution for that? So most of us, what we'll do at that point is we will always, well, once we are not using it, we'll off our data. So that is a single loop. So that's me just solving that initial problem. So, but this double looping is me saying, oh, so which of the application is using most of this data? So is it Figma? Is it YouTube? Which of the application is using this? So that is where double looping now comes in. So I'm not solving the problem at the time. I'm solving the problem, and I'm also solving the root cause of that problem. I hope you understand that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm seeing another question. Oh goodness, you said you think prototyping was among the process. Well, yes, it is among the process of user research. All right, so you can prototype. That's when you are doing. Though this is analysis, you are doing with data. All right, you're not. This is not interface. So it's only when you are doing your user research, yes, that you can now, after finishing your research and then you have gotten what you want to design, then you've gone into the design process, and then now after design, then you can now do the prototyping. Okay, so that is where prototyping comes in. All right, any other question? Any other question? Yes. All right. So let me see something. Let me show us when I was explaining the first 4 steps of let me see how quickly I can get that document. Let me see. Hold a minute. Okay, so this is how your research plan should most times look like. So your user research plan template. So this is how, so you can now have the project name, then you talk about the background of, so this section is tell stakeholders and clients about your recent history of and why you are conducting the research and what you are going to accomplish. And then here is why you are conducting the what problem do you hope to solve. And so goal number 1, stakeholders and team. So this is where you now have your designer, your, let's say my name and my title, then existing research. So this is actually optional. Okay, gifts. I've not seen your message. So this is where we now look at the audience and participants. We are okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so so the matrix is it will reduce time on tax, and then also it will increase sign up process count. So this could be example of this could be when you remember those days when signing up was like a hectic kind of work, that every sign up, if you want to register for a particular thing, you have to go through like fill a particular form, and then you get they'll ask you of your grandfather's name, they'll ask you of your great grandmother's name, they'll ask you what you want to be in the future and everything. But now signing up process is as slick and simple as possible. So you can just sign up with Google, you can sign up with LinkedIn, you can sign up with Facebook, depending on the platform. So can now see that that process, that matrix, it has reduced time on tax, and also it has increased sign up count. Because plenty, like I know of many of my accounts that have signed up with Google. Like I don't like that stress of thinking of passwords to use. So I'll just sign up with my Google and then go my way. So that is it. Just have to make sure that your Google is secured, very secured though. All right, so you have to look at research, focus, and scope. Then this will be where your research questions will be, and then your budgeting. Okay. So if you are recruiting participants, so this is where it is milestone methods and what have you. All right. So this is how it looks like. So we have come to the end of our class today. Is there any other question before I close? The environment is going to be a little lousy. All right. So thank you guys. So we'll meet on Wednesday. Please make sure you do your tasks. And if you have friends that have not yet done their tasks, tell them to do it up. They are still on the track. Okay. Yes, they are still on the track. So have a wonderful uh day ahead. All right. All right. Bye bye, guys.